I'm quite me crab for real. Me and the met me, membrano swana me pro. I'm quite nano me, nano me, nankano me, swana me pro.
Musicians say na woni mo komu wo hu asemansa no mu we free asase so. There is something almost haunting about musicians who sing about their own end. Those who dare to flirt with the shadows of death, even while they are still alive, in verse, in voice, and in rhythm. And when they are finally gone, those songs, those airy declarations, they don't just echo, they thunder. They make us pause, rewind, listen again, and suddenly the lyrics feel heavier. The lyrics feel prophetic. Afi wutia to say the wuti in comshare. That the Lumba, everything about his music feels like a preparation, a premonition, a poetic immortalization. The lines between life, art and legacy blur when the artist becomes the mystery. This isn't just a story of hits and headlines. This is about a man who sang like he had already seen the end and made peace with it. To some, he is the greatest. To others, a legend. Some, a mystery. But to all, he is Daddy Lumba. But was he all these, or there is more? This is not just a biography. This is a journey into the charm, the chaos, and the champion that is Daddy Lumba. Born to Johnson Kwadwofosu and Comfort Jenfi, Dodoana Nimno as Amesa on the 29th of September 1964. Charles Kwadwofosu, affectionately called Daddy Lumba, grew up in a small town called Insuta in the Ashanti region. One and the other two siblings were raised by their mother because Omopapa Frimu at a very early age. But Amesa said that Dodoana Nimno was a strong supporter of his musical gift, and he raised Kwadwofosu with so much love and affection. Metra or the Odo any akomapane tete Kwadwofosu inti na omoka and no one say throughout his music he said so much good stuff about her and even women in general. Because also Kwadwofosu Abra Quintwa, Emma played a very huge role in making him who he is. From his earliest years, it was clear he was gifted. He started singing at the age of 16 in Jabin Secondary School, but before Jabin Secondary School, he went to Edu Jenfi. Due to some reasons, he had to relocate and then move to Jabin Secondary School. There, he led the school choir and even formed a band of 4 boys and called it the Lumba Brothers. Later on, it would go on to include his first ever girlfriend, and then we would change the name from Lumba Brothers to Lumba Brothers and a Sister. According to his choir mistress, he could compose a song within a blink of an eye, which marveled everyone. He composed his first song at a very young age and called the song Lumba Lumba. That was what earned him the name Daddy Lumba after he garnered a lot of popularity. But fast forward after secondary school, he was torn in between furthering his education in Ghana and seizing the opportunity to travel abroad. But after Onene Mahamidi Nkomo and deliberated on the options, he opted to travel abroad, specifically to Germany. And this was an endeavor that was made possible through the help of his friend Teresa, the same girlfriend from secondary school. After moving to Germany in the mid-1980s to see greener pastures, he connected with a man. This man is called Nane Champon. Nane Champon had already moved to Germany years before and he was singing in a band and was doing high life. What Daddy Lumba was very conversant to was gospel music, but his connection with Nane Champon would introduce him to the high life sound. Conditions weren't easy in Germany, but from that inspiration, as he always mostly picked inspiration from real life situations and stories, they wrote a song. They wrote Yaya Kakwentuom in the year 1986, but they couldn't release it until 3 years later in 1989, where they were able to release an album entitled it Yaya Kakwentuom, which was more than music. It was a modern reinvention of high life. It resonated with Ghanaians at home and abroad, especially those who felt the pain of migration. He would go on to release a solo album. He released Obia Tumesobuo, the album, in 1990. Obia Tumesobuo had tracks like Teresa, Ankwanoma, Makoma Hotofe, and others. From his first album with Nane Champon, Yaya Kakwentuom in 1989, Lumba told relatable stories. He told emotional stories. He didn't just sing about love, he sang about longing. He sang about heartbreak, betrayal, sacrifice, and aspiration, mirroring the real life feelings of the ordinary Ghanaian. Even Enyumbi said Teresa felt deeply personal when you listen to it. It felt like his lyrics often reflected the Ghanaian condition. To romantic regrets, and even to death. Lumba's voice had an emotional range that a few can match. It is soft and romantic when needed, then powerful and commanding the next moment. His voice alone had the ability to move listeners even if they didn't fully grasp the lyrics. If we say pain piano, people say but the voice alone and the melody would attract you to listen to him. He knew how to bend his voice around pain, pleasure and pride, something that fans connected with on a so deep level. They won't say he was deeply rooted in high life, but Lumba was never limited by it. He infused his music with gospel, lovers rock at some point, and even danceable beats and contemporary styles. Way Boano Manitimi evolve across different generations. Whether you were born in the 80s or you were a 90s kid or even born in the 2000s, you could find your own version of Lumba. From early on, Lumba built a persona that was larger than life with his music, but still deeply relatable. His style, his perms, designer sunglasses at some points, and confident poses made him stand out visually. But in all this, he still remained a mystery, because unlike other stars and Mobab on Timber granting interviews at some points, Lumba was rather rarely granting interviews. This made fans lean into his music even more to understand him. Lumba has never insulted his audience's intelligence. Even in his controversial songs, he sings with metaphor, poetry, and emotions. Because he respects his fans so much by giving them music that is emotionally deep. He also maintained a level of humility, often crediting God, his mother, or even his fans at some points in his music. After going solo, he focused on themes like love, money, beauty, gratitude, and many more, drawing inspiration from the likes of Aduma Kunyameche, Akwesiam Pofreje, Nanam Pedu, and others. And he would go on to win so many hearts with how he fused sensuality with spirituality. But beyond the polished exterior and the adoring crowds that the Lumba's journey was far from smooth. Yes, there was turbulence at some point. Along the years, there were rumors of his fallout with some artists such as Dada KD, Oforian Ponsa, even Nane Champon, and at some point too, Ray Tampon. But Lumba never came out to even deny or debunk some of these. Lumba was later on accused of being controversial and explicit with his lyrics, especially with Abenwaha, which was briefly banned on national radio due to its suggestive lyrics. With his lyrics, he was accused of being a disturbance to morality, with comments like, "You write profane songs and dance with half-naked women to disturb the morality of the nation, and they call you a legend," even after his demise. Apparently, there was also a feud between him and the CEO of Joy Industries, Manfred Techi, over an alleged unpaid death and a missing car following a failed endorsement deal. Due to this, the CEO has refused to extend his condolences to his family after his death, stating that, "I can never pretend, so don't expect any message from me. He still owes us cash and a Toyota Tundra." The issue remains a topic of discussion, with some defending Techi's stance while others condemn it. Lumba was also accused of song theft at some point. Yes, some musicians at some point by Abontin Beka say, "When you Lumba ye Juma, obetimi the nyumna ba Abontin, ebra wuni so na omo amaniempo." Not to mention the numerous death rumors about him before his actual death. For example, in late 2013, rumors began circulating online on radio stations that Lumba had died after a long illness. Social media posts, especially on Facebook, shared condolence messages and fake news articles. Some claim say he had gone to Germany because Nehonum Nautako and passed away while he was still there. Lumba never came out to respond quickly. Fast forward in 2014, he also released a song titled Untold, which stirred political waters when it was embraced by the then president John Mahama, fueling criticisms. Ebikweche said for political reasons, but he never came out to confirm or denied it. Lumba actually never directly addressed most controversies. Instead, he allowed the music to speak, the wave and the aura to grow. In a world where everyone wanted to explain themselves, that Lumba became more powerful by staying silent, making him not just controversial but unforgettable. The silence even made the chaos even louder. Not to mention the relationship rumors that were flooding the airwaves at some point. But through it all, through the dazzling highs and the debilitating lows, that Lumba demonstrated an unwavering spirit. Not only did he survive, he soared. With over 33 albums and more than 200 songs to his name, he is deemed by some as the greatest and most influential musician in the Ghanaian history, with many musicians and non-musicians alike drawing inspiration from his music. Artists such as Dada KD, Sarkodie, Oforian Ponsa, Kofi Nti, and many more drawing inspiration from him. He became the father of modern high life, mentoring artists like Oforian Ponsa and also paving way for today's stars. He was awarded the Ghana Music Awards Lifetime Achievement Awards and other harness that recognizes his cultural imprint. In 2022, fans were thrilled when he launched his own radio station, DLFM, dedicated to classics and contemporary high life. Lumba was more than a musician, he was an era. He grew with his audience. Lumba didn't just repeat his sound, he aged with his audience. In the 90s, romantic and sensual. In 2000s, reflective and spiritual. In the recent years, legacy driven and nostalgic. The emotional and spiritual evolution made fans feel like they were going with a friend, not just following a celebrity. That the Lumba's music has cut across class, craft, and culture for decades, not just influencing musicians, but deeply inspiring the ordinary people. The ordinary artisans, entrepreneurs, pastors, politicians, tailors, drivers, and just about anyone with a soul and a story. From churches to blue kiosks, from parties to funerals, from the office to the streets, every place felt and still feel the influence of his music. He is and will remain the champion of our sound and soul. The charm made us fall in love, the chaos kept us curious, but the champion made sure we never forgot his name. This is the story of Daddy Lumba, a man whose voice could melt hearts and whose actions could raise eyebrows. He didn't just make hits, he made history, and in the process, he left behind a trail of admiration, controversy, and awe.